Hey guys, so this is going to be my long video, and I just finished stitching all 2 hours of it together, and it seems like it's complicated. It's only complicated if you want it to be. There's a lot here, but I just wanted to show you. So it's sitting in the driveway. It's kind of self-sufficient with the solar and everything, so you can run the fridge. You don't even have to plug it in. You don't have to do anything. And so if you wanted to come out here and start it up, the only thing you'd have to do, and again, you don't even have to do this, is come over here to this bay and flick the air compressor on. You can leave that on if you want, or control it from the breaker in the back. I just come out and I turn that on like a minute before I get in the bus. And again, people say you don't even have to turn that on. I like to, because it puts a little bit of air in the belt back there, but I'm gonna give it 1 minute. All right, so I just aired that up, and again, you don't have to turn the air compressor off. I just do. So I let it air up. So if you wanted to take off, basically come in, you'd pull these up, you'd set your maps. This right here, this turns off the front dash. So you just flick it on and you turn the key, and there will be 2 clicks. Click 1, click 2, and then starts right up. So now when I turn the key, there's more auxiliary air, and basically the beeping are these 2 tanks right here. So this is your air brakes system. So there's 2 tanks, and there's an engine driven compressor, and it fills those up. And so basically what you can do is you can come over here and you can hit, watch the idle, you hit high idle, and it goes up to 1100 RPM, and that will, sorry about the beeping, but it is what it is. That'll air up to 120 pounds, and when it reaches a certain point, then it dumps and it fills up the auxiliary air. And I can turn off or leave on the air compressor down there. But that's it. Once that air's up, put your foot on the brake, you lift this, push down, and that releases the brake cylinder. And then you put this in drive or reverse, and you take off. But once everything airs up, we're ready to go. Can idle that down, and you can take off. So it's as simple as that. So I just wanted to show people that it's not hard. That's all you have to do. If you're coming in to go camping or pull in somewhere, so let's say you just pulled in, the other thing that you do is you could use this, which I've never used before, and I use the level low, which basically you can change the height of the coach and dump the air in the airbags. You basically, what I do is I just come over here and the engine's running, turn it off, and then I hit this button, and it shuts everything off to those engine start batteries. And that's it. And I'll show you what you do outside. So once you come in and you want to go camping or do anything, one option is you don't do anything, and you run off the batteries. You've got solar during the day, and and you got 15,000 watts of battery, so you don't have to do anything. The other thing you could do is you press the button and you can pull the canopy out, and then you can pull this canopy, and then there's two on the other side up here. So it's manual. You can just pull that out, and you can pull that one out, and that's it really. You come over here if you're at full hookups, and you can hook up the water. So you unscrew this and you hook up the water, and then you can hook up your tank, and you're done. That's as hard as it needs to be electrically. If you're going to hook up to 50 amp, you basically just unscrew this, and I'll show you later. There's the button, and the cord comes out, and you plug it in, and that's it. That's all you do. The Victrons and all the stuff in there, it'll turn it from running off the solar and the batteries. And once you plug it in, show you over here. Let me open this up. When you come over here, if you just plug it in, you don't have to worry about any of this. If it's 50 amp, you can turn the generator on from inside the coach. You just press the button and it'll turn on. You don't have to do anything. And then the whole coach will run off generator. If you plug it in, it switches automatically, and the Victrons will turn over, and it will automatically, they'll just start charging the battery, and you'll run off of shore power. So you don't have to do anything in here. The only thing I do is, because these do generate heat, I like to keep those open and just ventilate it inside of there if you're going to be running off the inverters. But otherwise, you don't have to open or know anything that's in here. I just like to. And then as soon as you wanted to leave, once you're hooked up, if you pull the plug, I like to turn the power off at the breaker, but if your shore cord's plugged in, turn it off, you unplug it, you wheel it in. Once you unplug it, you'll automatically run the entire coach off the inverters and the battery and the solar. So you don't have to do anything. I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. Where it gets complicated is you have the option, there's a myriad of options. If things start to fail, you have a myriad of an almost endless amount of options to continue working the coach. If the batteries quit, the solar quit, the inverters quit, you can still run the bus. If for some reason your shore went out, you can still run your bus. If you need to charge your batteries and the generator quit and you don't have like 50 amp power, I've got that little guy that you can still charge the batteries with. The wake speed, it's set and running. You don't have to do anything. You can access all of this with a computer and a phone, but it's all kind of set up. So I just wanted you to be aware that right now this bus is kind of living and breathing. It's got, like I said, the solar. You can see it on your phone. You can also, if you go to my website, I think there's a feed and it shows you what the coach is doing. You can run the thermostat, the air conditioners, the heat pumps, and the aqua hot from your cell phone anywhere in the world. And you can also see what's happening on this bus anywhere in the world, as long as there's like an internet connection. You could put a dedicated hotspot in here and then you'd see everything. But right now the battery's 100%, even after running the air compressor. So I'm only getting 158 watts pulling from the solar, and that's just to run the inverters and the fans. You can run the fridge. You'd never have to plug this in. If all you did was the 12-volt house loads, like the water pumps, the vent fans, the refrigerator, as long as you left it out in the sun, you don't have to turn this bus on. There's enough solar there. When you start getting into using the electric water heater and the air conditioners, that's where the solar's not enough and you'll start eating into your batteries. But there's a lot of battery capacity there. That's the equivalent to I think 12 of those 8D batteries. But I guess all that to say, I just wanted to say it's only as complicated as you want to make it. This stuff right here is kind of top shelf, top of the line stuff, but you can shut it and forget it. So I like to turn everything off, and that's where it gets complicated. You can leave it all on and not do anything. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. So with that said, go ahead and throw you into the video. It's long. I go through everything, and if there's some things that I left out, let me know, and be happy to answer some questions. I know some people have reached out and asked for a cost. It's just a thought. You know, if you guys have a number in mind, let me know. Not gonna hurt my feelings. It doesn't hurt to ask. So thanks for watching, and enjoy the 2-hour video. Well, good morning, guys. Wasn't quite sure I was ever gonna do this video, but I think we're seriously considering letting her go to another family. We've, I think, used this for 2 going on 3 years. We've been doing it for 4 going on 5 years, and girls are starting to get into high school and wanting to pursue other things. And she's up and running now, so probably a good time to kind of hand it off. This is going to be a long video. I'll try in the description to break it up into segments, but I wanted to go through this from head to tail, and you could use this video, you know, if you're not interested in my bus but interested in a Prevost, things I'd look for, to look out for, stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and get started. Well, I wanted to say I tried this, I think, a year, maybe 2 years ago, and we were kind of considering it, and then my batteries went wild, and so I kind of called it off. I didn't want to sell it with it not working. So apologize to all those people. I thought it would be a quick fix, and it was not. It was fun, but it wasn't. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. I think I'm going to do the outside, the roof, and then the inside, and I'll get started. So the other thing I wanted to show you is I have the original wiring diagram for the bus, and it was an American Coach. And so this must be upside down. Yeah, there we go. So American Coach says Holland 3250 wiring diagrams. It's got all of the information on the build. So here we go. So it starts to show all of the lights and switches and what everything does, what it should do. That's the relay panel in the back, which each one of them does. So it was the upper and the lower Vista lights that didn't work. Shows everything. This is what the inverters did, or do, the DC power. So this says relay panel, and this says short cord power, but I found this does both of them. And then the post lights, fuse boxes. There is a wiring diagram in here. They do show the bus. There's one in here for the generator, and this one right here. So I could probably, so it has the water temperature and the oil pressure gauge. They go into this harness and then it feeds through other things. So I don't know if it's the gauge that's bad, the connections that are bad, anything in between. There is a generator start stop. I don't have that hooked up to the Victrons. Again, because I don't use it. I don't want it to start up on its own. You could, I think, I don't know how I haven't investigated that, but you could probably fix those gauges by studying these diagrams and then getting into all the manuals. This is one I started to put together, and I didn't really know how to put this together the best, but I've got kind of my own swing on it. Tried to put in here by dates some of the things that I've done. I did a weight and balance. This is the Prevost work that I had done. All the things. This is the relay panel. This is where I kind of show the old one and the new one, how to wire it up. The push buttons, I had to order that one, so I found exactly what they are, how you order them, the different kinds. The only thing I couldn't get is how you get the printout. This is for the batteries. This was the start batteries. This is the generator charger. This is the wake speed. That thing is complicated. So it works right now. So I'd leave it alone. This is the all the things I put in it, in the bus, the fuse panels. This is my attempt of a wiring diagram, so that you're not left in the cold. The Sterling alternator protector. This is the Sony thing I put up front. These are the shower valves and components that I've put in. Those are the lights, toilet vacuum breaker I replaced, the RV camera in the back. These are the fuel nozzles. This is that stuff in the front bay. This is the grill. This is that electric heater, the electric heater that I put in. Had to replace a high limit switch. This is a Slide Master tray that I put in. This is the TV thing, more components. This is the air compressor, the 24-volt air compressor I put in, where I bought it from. The filters I put in, pop-off valves, the tank. This is kind of my sketch of putting it together. Just different ideas for the slide. These are the headlights that I put in. I got a glass mount to put those in. What was this one? Oh, this is the wind sensor that I put in. This is the airbags that I didn't install. The steering wheel kit that I put in. What else I got in here? Steering wheel, leather, who I got it from. Front tires. Again, everything's in a video too. Probably could have done a little better job on that, but I don't know. Best I could do. This is a parts manual for the coach. This is a maintenance manual for the coach. Also have instrument cluster. This is from the old Outback inverters. I just left a component, electrical system. These are some different things that was left in there. This is leftover, I think, from the steering wheel kit. This is the other relay. I bought an extra one in case another one went out. This is another folder in here showing all the build stuff. So some of my stuff I put in here, but this is like the shop order from Prevost. This is plumbing, so that's the different, everything that's in the bus is in here. All the appliances, air conditioners. So I've used this more than a couple times to get parts and stuff. The old thermostat, which is still in there. The air conditioner, heating. So this is aqua hot. So I've got a lot of aqua hot manuals. Electrical. So I've stuck some of the Victron stuff in here. A lot of that stuff is online. That looks like the Shore cord reel. This is the generator. Again, in here, this has got more of how it works. And there's a huge wire harness with a bunch of pins and switches, and I just have never chased it down. This tells everything about the generator. And then accessories is kind of a free-for-all. It's got, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. Old electronics. There's the cargo drawer that doesn't exist anymore. The radar detector, the CB, all of that stuff. So it's all in here. This is the air compressor and the Norgen valves. This is that, if you'd spend 10 minutes, this may work. This is that auto leveling thing. Just more components. Power switch. So between all of this, it shows kind of the history, and then also, of course, on Camp Prevost YouTube videos, it kind of documents everything I've done as well. So a lot of information. So I think just coming up here to the front. So I think this bus is fine. Some people may say it's not perfect. It is a 2000. These are kind of like airplanes. You could put $2 million in this if you wanted, I'm sure. Didn't want to do that. Wanted to make it safe and fun. The tires, I replaced these last year. See if I can find the date code. So I had to look it up, I forgot. So that is the week and the year, so 13/22. So these are pretty much brand new tires on the front. I can go ahead and we can look at the back. The tires are Hankook on the front and Michelin's in the back, 315s in the front. So this is 34th week of 17, and this is the 47th week of 19. And depending on who you talk to, they're fine, and some people tell you you're crazy. I think these were a couple of years old, or 6. They were 17, so I went ahead and replaced them. And the back, like I said, they look good, and there's 6 tires back there, so I went ahead and left them. Up front here, this window, it's not perfect. There's a condensation leak, if you can see it. Holds a little bit of water in there. Haven't been able to get it out, so I figure it just sweats in there. We've had it for 3 years. It hasn't been a single problem. I think those are like, unfortunately, like $1,100 each from Prevost, and so we've just kind of left it. Like I said, the bus isn't perfect, but like the window, it doesn't leak. There's water inside of it, but it's fine. Coming around here, so I did another video. I replaced this door latch, and so it's nice and solid now. Nothing else on the door here. I did put this up. We've got dogs and they come and they look out here, and sometimes they put their feet up. So I just got, this is like a fireplace mat. I put that up there so that they wouldn't scratch it. Coming around to the front, put new windshield wipers on there a long time ago. The front one, the top reservoir piece is dry rotted off of there, but you don't, I've never used those windshield wipers up top, just these here, and those have new blades on them and they work. The headlights, I did replace. They were the old whatever bulbs these were. I didn't replace these. I just went ahead and left them, but those guys are nice and bright. This doesn't look too bad. It does have a few chips. You can see right in there, but you know, if you clean it up, it looks pretty good. And what I'm gonna do next is open this area. I don't know if I can, it's pretty heavy. Hold on. There we go, I got it open. It's just, it's real heavy. It's got springs on there, but that thing must weigh 200 pounds. They say, I don't know what this is for. I tried to get a tire stuck in there and it wouldn't fit, so I didn't put it in. So what I use it for right now, this is like airline parts. I've got some side marker lights. Back there in the back are 2 airbags. I came out in the winter time and this side had dropped down, and so I feared that the airbags needed fixed. So I think it's this airbag, these 2 front ones, and the tag are the same, I think. And so I bought 2 new airbags, and it ended up warming up one day and then it held. And so I think it's a Norgren valve. So at any rate, I've got 2 brand new in the box airbags. So those could go on the front or on the tag. And then when I went and did a battery build in Texas, these are the cylinders for the brakes. And so there's 2 different kinds. And so PJ there in Texas, he let me have, these worked. He replaced all of them. So I've got a spare for each one. And then when we were doing my oil and everything, these are the bushings that go in the suspension, and all of them were fine. And so he had already ordered them. so we just went ahead and left them. But yeah, I just kind of keep this up front here for like all the spare parts. So got 2 spare airbags, brake cylinders, air parts, marker lights, different components. So all that's up front here. So coming around to this side of the bus, of course, like I said, we've got the tire. When I was in Texas, PJ was nice enough, he cleaned the wheel up. I just need to clean it. We've got this bay up front here, and this bay, when I got it, was a mess. So I took it out and I cleaned it totally up, and I put new bituminous sound dampening stuff in here and cleaned it up as best I could. Also, this is the I forget what it's called. There's a horn inside of there that we don't use, and I ended up finding a wire that was broke off and got it fixed. But this air compressor up front, I ended up, the check valve went out. It's kind of a low amp motor, and so they use a check valve. Like when it builds itself up with pressure, then it cuts it off, and then it drops the pressure on the compressor so that it's easier to start again. And so I thought the compressor was bad and just found out that that check valve needed fixed. So I tore it completely apart and rebuilt it. I put all new fittings, check valve, switches, all that stuff in there. So it's good to go. It's kind of a rat's nest in here. I didn't, like I said, didn't really change anything except for I took this out and the air compressor and cleaned everything out. Looks like it probably needs a little bit of cleaning again, but put that mat in there and then put the air compressor back in. Coming over here, these windows appear to be okay. This one's fine. It looks like there's a little bit of, I don't know what that is, but everything on it's fine. This awning, I don't know if you can see it up there. That little piece, I had to replace that. When we went to Wyoming, we had a big windstorm, and it blew a bunch of air up in here, and it broke that off, so I had to replace it. Coming around here to this side, this is just the first bay. These are slide outs, go full length. They work really good. I don't really pull them to this side, but yeah, just wanted to show you. And then this, don't really know what's up inside of there, haven't really needed to look, but that's up there. Yeah, these pull out bays are awesome. We had a Super C, and everything that we could put in the Super C, we can stick in this bay in those slide outs. It's kind of crazy. And then coming over here, this is the back end. This used to have a TV on the other side. I've got some wood in a solo stove that I never use, so I threw it on here, and my goal is next time we go camping out, I want to try to burn all of it. But I put in a new slide, and I purposely made it go, I think it's 6 feet, 2 feet short, so I've got 2 feet for kind of like back of house type stuff. And I just have boiler oil, diesel fuel supplement, antifreeze, oil, flashlight. I stick tools in here. I stick that chair in there because this little guy right here is what you use to open these awnings with, and you can reach the piece to pull the awning open from standing down here, but you can't reach that little pin. And so I just keep that chair in. It's perfect height. I can unfold it, reach the pin up top, and lock the canopy. Well, on the driver's side, the first, second, third bay in, this is primarily the generator bay. And the toilet in here, if you've seen my videos from before, is air. And the only way to get air pressure is from that auxiliary air pump, or to run the coach, it's got an engine driven compressor. And I had problems with the inverter, so then I lost the AC, which means I didn't have a toilet. And then the check valve went out, which means I didn't have auxiliary air, which meant I didn't have a toilet. So this bus has like triple redundancies on everything. And so I got mad one day and I got a continuous duty industrial 24 volt air compressor and a tank and all of the setup in here and dryers. And what I did was I intercepted where the air comes to these bladders. It comes back here and it goes to the air bladders, and then I found where it goes to the toilet. And so what I did was I intercepted it. This comes basically to the rest of the bus, and I just keep it shut off. And then, so this system right here, all it does is the air compressor and the toilet. And so there's a mile of air line and 40,000 components. And you know, if you had 30 of them have a pin hair of leak, this thing, it cycles about every couple of hours. And this one here, it cycles once a day, maybe, I think. So I kind of use that as a success. So this right here, if my auxiliary air went out, this would be a backup. And if this went out, I could still use the auxiliary air. So I have that whole system inside. The other thought too was I lost that auxiliary air there thing in my inverters, and I didn't want to run the generator because I couldn't get my air bladders. So that's kind of the air compressor piece. So just concentrating on the generator, you can see this insulation here. It's kind of you need to tear it all out or leave it alone. And so what I did was I used a vacuum and sucked up what came off of it and cleaned it up. I've changed the engine oil and the oil filter. This engine's run real well. So I kind of don't use it anymore. I need to figure out when I changed my engine oil, because this was serviced, that says in 20, and I think I did it in 22, so last year. So I've changed the oil in it since. So this generator, it fires up and it runs real good. I'll go ahead and start it up. It runs real good. The only thing with the generator that doesn't work, and I've left it alone, guess I could fix it, but I'm not worried about it at all. You can hear the fan down, probably can't hear it on the camera. So there's gauges in here, and it looks like, so the water temp, I don't know if it works. And then the oil pressure. So both of these, they normally peg. See, there's no way that's 220. They normally kind of peg over to the right and then sit there and jump. So I think I've got to tear that apart and check it out. But you can control the generator inside. I know some of you tell me probably shouldn't do this, but you can turn it off from in here. So those gauges, there's a, I'll come back to this bay, but I think those gauges, they come in to here, to this box, and up there, there's a whole bunch of pins. The schematic on it looks like something short of the shuttle, so I just left it alone. Generators run fine. I've run it for 12 hours before. It's been fine. The cooling system works. Everything works. So that's the generator. It's four cylinder? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-cylinder Yanmar, 20,000 watts, 240 volts. So this provides more power than the short cord, and it runs off of the diesel tank, which is 235 gallons, and it draws just down to the quarter mark, so that you always have, it won't draw you a empty tank for the bus. Coming around here, so this is the next one down. This is, and I can open this one up too. So this is the aqua. They have had that container thing around it, so that's where I store like the drain components, and then they had that tube in there from before where you can hook it up down to the bottom. But the aqua, so it, if you guys don't know anything about it, it's basically a diesel heater. It runs off the diesel tank as well, and provides you hot water, and then also it's got hydronic heaters inside, and so it can run off of the thermostat. It also gets heat from the engine when you drive down the road, so you can have hot water, take showers while you're driving down the road. It also, I think there's 3 of these. There's one here, I think this one, I think there's one in the bedroom, and right up here. So I think there's 3, but there could be 4. The way you turn it on is with, I've got the power turned off. Let me go turn that on. This is the electric panel back here. I just keep everything turned off. No reason to waste electrons. So this is the micro air thermostat that I put in here, but you can switch the different zones. You can control heating and different things with the micro air, which includes your heat, and it'll turn it on. And you turn it on here with the aqua hot button, so you can turn it on there, and that should turn it on. See if it fires up for me. Doesn't sound like it did. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 tries. It should light up on the first one. Yeah, I don't think it's lit, so I'll try it one more time. One thing with like the aqua hot and the generator, one thing with plugging it in, having solar, having a lot of batteries, I don't need the generator, so I never run it. In the aqua hot, I never run it either. I wonder if I gotta have that on. So I need to let this, it does a cycle and then times out. While it's running for the aqua hot, I've pulled that apart several times. Usually what happens, there's like a little nozzle. I got a parts bin in here. It may be maybe outside. This is it. So there's a nozzle. This is an old one, but you screw this in there, and then these right here, if you don't use them that much, the tips get clogged. These are only like $10. It's just kind of more of a pain to take that little jet thing out and put a new one in. But I keep this in here for reference in case I need to know if I need some more. The maintenance, they basically just replace that and clean everything up, and then it usually works. That's the biggest problem, is just not using them. Well, I've tried a couple different times and it's not turning on. I'm not gonna sell it like that. I'll probably do a video after I do this one. I've taken this apart and I've replaced the nozzle, I've cleaned the screen, I've done an ohm check on everything. The only thing left is the main control module, and they're like $400 or $500, I think. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and I can smell the fuel, so it's spraying in there. It's just not igniting, and I've taken it out and the igniter does work, so I think it's the control module. So I'm gonna order one and stick it in there. I'll probably do a video of it, but let's just imagine the aqua hot works. I never use it. I always use the electric one. It works fine. But yeah, in this bay, we've got all of these components. Coming over here to the water, I just used that plastic storage container. There was a big cabinet in here that matched this stuff, and apparently it had gotten wet and swelled up, and I had kept it just in, you know, if I ever sold this thing, and I finally threw it away, so it's gone. But in this bay in here, I've tried to label everything, because when I was going through here, I didn't know what the hell anything did. So that right there is the aqua hot heater. So there's a heater right up there that runs off the aqua hot. So if you turn this up in the winter time, it'll turn on and run off the aqua hot. This is the tank fill. So right here, so this is, you can hear the pumps went crazy, which I replaced both pumps in there. I had one leaking, and so I replaced both of those. But this is to run it from the hose. So what that did was it dropped all the pressure in there, and so the pumps had to fill it back up. But I primarily use it on tank fill. I didn't know what the hell that thing was, so labeled it. And then this right here is the shut off to this valve. So if you want to fill this up with water, you basically unscrew that, you pull this, I think there's 50 feet of hose, and you can pull that out and connect it, and then turn your water on, and you can, this right here is just a valve to shut it on and off. Inside of here is this water softener, self-sanitizing water treatment unit. I don't use it anymore. The thing I do use is right up here. It's the water filter for the bus. Oh, the other thing that I replaced in here was there's also an electric heater on the other side. The electric heater quit working, so I replaced it. And then also to drain your tanks, you basically, you take that hose out and you connect it on the bottom. On a Prevost, I'll show you on the other side, you can drain the tanks from either side, but basically you hook that up, connect it to the drain, and you can hit black dump. So I do the black first. So you press this button, and yep, it's got a little bit of water in there, but it'll open it up. The scary thing is that you've got a dump button. You've got one here, you've got one on the other side, you've got one in the bedroom, and you've got one up there by the driver's seat. So you can dump this while you're driving down the road. but I usually do the black and then the gray. One thing, and it's kind of good, I guess right now, you can't see these lights, but if you hit this, it's red and that's green. It has to be green for it to work. And so I was at a campground once and I couldn't get it to drain, and I went through so much stuff, and it was just because that button, it was finally nighttime, and I figured out that it was just that button I needed to press to get the tanks to dump. Basically I had to turn the switch on. The other thing is just that water faucet right there. So I think that's it for this bay. Oh, the water tank is back there. It's 160 gallons, and this, of course, is the black. It's supposedly 80, and the gray is 80 gallons. Both these guys work. I did have a leak at that fitting, and so I tore all that off and I replaced it all. So it all holds now like it should. So everything works. So if there's one thing I dislike about the short cord, so there's a lot of different configurations, but if you've ever had a big boat, this is basically a marine cord. And in my video at Texas where we changed the oil, we had the side off, and you can see basically this cord goes in and there's a big box that sits horizontally here. So the short cord's in there, but the switch for it, you've got to have a key and open up this bay, and they put the switch. I guess it's fine because nobody can get to it, but to make it go out, you've got to it works, but you've got to open up this bay. So like I said, everything works, but just didn't really like that. I don't know what else I do. I wouldn't want the switch on the outside. So I don't know, pick your battles, right? This in here is kind of more of a Prevost bay. The only thing I've done is the big Delco 50DN. Let me open this up. Let's go ahead and show you. So on a Prevost in the back of the bus, these all could be locked. I've never locked them. You open this door up, and right here, it's rain, so I don't have leaks, it's just condensation. Press this up, and this guy will swing up and out of the way. The engine I probably could stand to use a degreaser on, but any rate, so this Delco 50DN, so this bus does not have bus air, and so this Delco, it was hooked up to run my house batteries. And then this alternator right here, it's set up and it runs, digressing here a little bit, it runs my, gotta shut this so it gets out of the way. It runs the starter batteries back here. So every bus is different. If you have bus air, the big Delco, you most likely have a compressor right here. You would have the Delco running your bus air, and then they stick an alternator. Okay, so they stick an alternator there, and this right here is my compressor for the front dash. And so on the bus air, I'm assuming they both run off the same thing. So at any rate, back here in this bay, this alternator regulator ran the 50DN, and I'll show you in a little bit, but basically that kind of has preset settings, and I may be able to adjust it up and down, but I ended up, long story short, to get the wake speed running, I needed a switch from when you turn the key on, basically an ignition. It was already back here, and so I had jumpered off of 2 wires that came over here, and hooked into this, and I put these Wago connectors on here to leave it. I guess sometimes when I deviate from OEM, I like to make it so that you can change it back. So if you said, Aaron, I don't like any of your stuff, basically you could unhook it and plug this back in, and that would run the alternator. You'd have to do some work on the alternator, but you could get it back to normal. But for the most part, everything else in here is pretty clean, and looks like there's an air port right there I've never used, but never had to get in here. But this is kind of more of a, call it a Prevost bay. While we're doing all the bays, might as well, I don't know how you do this. I got a bee hanging out here. I got stung by a bee the other day. So this is just all the radiators. For the most part, they look pretty good. You gotta be careful, it's just so delicate. I've hosed it off a couple times. It's funny, in person they look black, and on camera they look like they're filthy. It's kind of funny. But I swear they're clean. And I gotta get this shut. There, I just had to put some pressure into it. So coming around here to the back, this is the engine, of course. I brought it to Texas and we traded some work, and they did an oil and oil filter change, so that's been recent. This guy right here, I've been checking it. The oil is like crystal clear, so I've left it alone. In one of my videos, you could go back and see when I had Prevost. I had Prevost come in here because I didn't have any history on it. I had them totally drain and flush the transmission in the filter, and drain and flush the radiator fluid. And so it's got all new fluid in it. It's the red, not the green. And then they changed the filter accordingly. They put all new belts on, and then they greased every fitting on the bus, and I also had them drain all of the air tanks and check everything. So it was quite expensive, but it was just nice to have all of that done. But the only thing recently I've done is had the oil changed. One thing to note, I always run the auxiliary air, the air compressor, before I start the engine, because the airbags here are not, they don't have air in them. I just don't like all of those belts. Supposedly you can turn it on, and as long as you don't high idle, it's fine. But I like to just put pressure in it and then turn it on. Just seems better. And then over here is, this is oil. This was from when I bought it. This was 20, and so I've had Prevost do it, and then we did it, so it's been about every year. But this right here is another reserve tank, and you can see the level. She's been a good engine, knock on wood. It hasn't really burned any oil. Looks like the Delco, I got a little bit, it's an oil cooled alternator. Looks like a little bit's coming out there, so I could probably clean it up, but everything works real good on it. Coming back here on this side, so up top there's the camera, and that camera valve body. I ended up, I was driving down the road on one of my trips. It's on a video, and I saw the auxiliary air dropping, so I pulled off into a rest area and came back, and this thing had blown off right here, and so I was dropping air. And so what I did was I cut this line in my air parts up front. I grabbed this guy, and so I just kept it in there and turned it off, and basically it just kept my camera out. But I thought, since I'm gonna look at selling this. I need to fix it. So I tore that completely apart and put it in an ultrasonic cleaner, cleaned it up, fixed it, put it back together, and it works now. I did do the air filter. I changed it, I think when I did the Prevost change, so it might have been 2 years ago, and then I just recently did it. So this whole canister here is the air filter. It's huge. It's like a 5-gallon bucket, and so I just wrote it on here. So I changed it at 236 on 7/12/23, so it's basically brand new. I might do this separate, but this is my Sterling alternator protector. I put that in there. This is from before. Basically, that's a charger for the start batteries. That's the back end of the Delco there. But knock on wood, everything's been good inside of here. Coming around to the next bay, this is what I call another Prevost bay, but this is the engine start batteries. I think that date code there was the last time the batteries were changed. I think they ran down when I first bought it. I really didn't know anything about the bus, and I ran them down, and then they would never hold a charge. And so I got new batteries. That's March of 22. Replaced all 4 of them. They are Duracell, I think. But they are got them from Batteries Plus. But so those are what, a year old, but they work great. So 4 brand new batteries. This right here is a 35 amp charger for these batteries. That's what I had to use on the batteries before this. When they died, I had to turn that on. Basically plugged it in and then got a charge to them and then got it out of here. But that's a charger, and the timer and its switch is on the front dash. This right here is kind of a trickle charger, and I've found it came with the bus, and I just left it. It looks like it had tape on here and it fell off. It's only 50 watt, which seems like enough, but whenever I get in, there's a switch up front on the dash. I switch it off, and if I switch it off at the dash, it kind of cuts the power back here, and everything seems to be fine. There's probably a phantom load from somewhere, so that thing does fine when it's switched off. If not, it seems like it pulls a little bit, but I haven't the foggiest where it'd be. This is more of a Prevost side. But then this is the Vanner. The Vanner works. Found it out, taking it off. I mean, I didn't have any sparks, but you can just see the lights and the different things. So that's it for the bay back here. All of the breakers are fine. Like I said, got the batteries. They're replaced in there. One thing I did find on this door was when I shut it, it does that. That's not shut, because I had some dirt in here, and when I changed the batteries, I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. You can, if you put some weight on it, it'll snap a second time. So just kind of lesson learn. So coming back a little further on the outside, so this is another canopy that you can pull out. There's one there. There's one here on the back window and there. And basically there are those little straps up top there. Probably see it better on this one. Yeah, right there. You basically put a hook inside of there and you pull them down and then you hook it on there, and everything works on there. Again, these are the tires. What I say, these are a 19, and this is 17. So those are 6 and 4 years old. That sounds right. And then the front ones are 1 year old. I guess while I'm kind of doing the awning, so that Girard awning, it's run, lesson learned for me, it's run off of AC, not DC. And there's a remote control for it. And there's also some switches, and they reside, so where I'm at here, I'm coming in, and there is some switches right in here. It's hard to show you on the phone. There it is. But basically you can, oops, there we go. Press the button and it'll come out. I'm gonna stop it, bring it back in, but it works. There is also a light out here. There was an old fluorescent light right up there, and I took it off and I put a brand new LED light, and there's a Bluetooth sensor in there. And basically to turn it on, you have, they call it yard light. And if you flick that on, it'll turn the light on. And then I've got a wireless remote that I wired up inside of there, so you can turn it on and off. Once you flick the switch and you put power to it, you can change its intensity and turn it on and off. And I just kind of stick it right in there. So I'll turn that off. But that's out here. Again, that's the big light. Doesn't look like much, but I'll tell you what, at night, when you turn that on in full intensity, you can play basketball out here. It's pretty nice. So this is the last bay here. This is the other side. Looks like I had some water come out there. Didn't get it turned off. This is the other side of the water. So that's the water tank, of course, the black and the gray. And again, you've got buttons over here, so you can turn it on and off, dump it. And then there's also this guy right here where you can drain the water tank. And there's this cord right here. Oh, inside of here, I don't know. I think I've got to go in under here is the heater for in here. Right up there. So I found out what was in there before and replaced it with exactly the same one. So that's a brand new heater in this bay, brand new electric one. And again, the temp thing is on the other side. And let me get this bay open. So that cord, it came originally in through this bay, I think down in there, and so I've redone it. But basically that plug drives this power strip, and so I just left it in there. It looks like it was installed before the water tank. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. Big picture, I just left it. So I've got power into the battery bay. So these are the two bays that I've actually kind of lived in for a while. Might come back to them. Just high level, I've got the 3 24-volt lithium iron phosphate batteries in here. And then over here, this is the generator battery. So I left access for it. And I have its own, I think it's only like it's 2 amp charger for that. So this battery right here, I replaced it. So 421, so it's only 2 years old. So basically all the batteries in here are brand new. I think these I did, was it last year or this year? Time goes by so quick. But these, I think they should last for 15 or 20 years. I don't think we really know, but they'll probably, those batteries, it'd be neat to come back and see sometime, but these batteries should last longer, as long as the rest of the coach. As long as you don't charge them while they're frozen and then drain them to completely zero and then freeze them. You know, as long as you don't get malicious with them, they should last a long, long time. I guess I could do, so big picture, this is the wake speed, that alternator regulator for the big alternator back there. So this is a computer, so it tells that there's like 150 settings, and I feel like I know computer stuff, and that thing is crazy. But right now it's kind of set up to run that alternator and charge these batteries. This right here are my disconnects for the solar that comes down. This right here is a shunt from Victron. I'm using this as more of a negative bus bar. This is my servo. That's one of the solar charge controllers, another solar charge controller. I left this in here, so this is a temp sensor, and so basically I can plug it in to here, and then I can run a heater in this bay if I want to. And then also that's a 24 volt, 12 amp charger. And so if I put this in storage, I can plug just that in to, I'll show you in a minute. I put this in bypass and can just top this battery off if I want to, along with the other stuff. Up inside here, I've got a fuse box for my 12 volt and 24. And so basically I have the 24 volt from here going up to there. This is where the air pump runs off of. And then that guy up there, it takes the, I think it's 26.7 volts and changes it. I have it set to 13.2, and that runs everything 12 volt in the house. And then it comes over here to the switch, so then you can turn that on and off. And then I have a fuse for everything. So basically all these batteries are in parallel with each other, and so I've got a positive bus bar and a negative, and then the negative comes over here, so it goes through my shunt, but then the negative side goes over to my inverters over here, and the positive comes up, and each one, so a positive comes, and then positive to an inverter, positive to an inverter. The alternator, it comes through here, it's got its own fuse, and then comes down, and there is a 12 volt fuse as well for these. So got quite a bit of fuses and boxes. Now that I didn't intend to do any of this. My inverters went out, so I changed the inverters, and then I rewired the electrical, then the batteries went out, and then I added solar. So if you could probably tear this completely out and rebuild it into one bay, but it just kind of works, so I've left it. So coming over here, there's a lot going on here. So basically the negative and positive from the batteries come to the inverter, and then it supplies power to this box. And there's two breaker panels inside the house. They come and they land on, I've got it labeled top and bottom panel. So basically it's 240 volts if you want it. It comes over and that runs to the panels in the coach. So the other thing that you can do is, so when you plug the coach in, it comes in at the top, or the generator comes in, it's the transfer switch. And then that transfer switch feeds that's 240 volt box right here. It's another relay, and then it goes to that 240 volt box, which doesn't feed anything. It goes to a dryer that's not installed. So basically the shore and the generator come into a transfer switch that comes into another transfer switch that goes to a 30 amp 240 volt box that goes to the dryer that I don't have. So out of here you get shore or generator, and it comes around to this box, and then this box comes back up and it feeds. Actually there's a feed that goes to the AC, to the inverters. So the inverters come through and they power the house, these two breakers, and then the main AC, the shore, the generator comes through and it feeds into the inverters. And so if you have shore or generator, it passes through and it goes to the coach. And so what I wanted was a bypass. So I have the ability by switching a breaker, two breakers up here. If I switch the inverter feed that comes over off, and then because this is a, I think it's called a top lug box, basically the shore generator power will come into here, and I can turn the main breaker on and the inverter feed off and switch the inverters off. And basically I've bypassed everything. So I don't need the batteries. So if something happened with the solar, the batteries, the inverters, anything, basically I can still plug the bus in and then feed the coach with it. Because what happened to me when we first got the coach is we took off and it had 4 Outback inverters in it. There was a, long story short, there was a switch box, there's a video in it. It had fried, and basically I had shore power, but I had no way to power the coach because the inverters went down and they were passed through. And so what I can do anything I want here. And then also, so this right here, these inverters, they're set up to be, they're working together so that they do split phase. So they need split phase to come in and pass through, otherwise they go into alarm. But there's data connections for it, and so basically the data connections for this one go to the bottom 2 of this, and the data connections from here go to the top there. And so you can see I've got them hooked together, and then you can use one of the open data ports to use one of the I've got the what do they call this thing, VE bus. You can plug it into your computer and program it all. So sounds more complicated than it is, but everything works real good. And then I ended up wiring another electrical box down there so I can charge things. So I just went ahead and opened them. The next 2 bays are kind of more of the ones that you would use if you're gonna go camping somewhere. This one here, if you just to monitor it or need to change anything. But this one here is the other side of the pass-through. Like I said, we put everything in here. We've got, you can pour these, both of them, all the way out, top and bottom. So we've got 4 large chairs down inside of there. You've got the 4 Zip D chairs, I guess, from the awning. I've got the 2 mats, just some other camping stuff, umbrella, things like that. And then in this one, I've got 12 by 12 pop-up tent. I've got another pop-up tent. I've got a table, cornhole boards. I throw our electric scooter in here, and then we end up filling this with all of our shoes. And then that top thing is the mat. So basically, you know, there's 4 of us. If you bring 3 pairs of shoes, you know, some sandals, some shoes, depending on the weather, And if it's going to rain or be muddy or bike or boat or whatever, you know, 12 pair of shoes, we just end up filling it full. We can, I think my wife's grandfather made this, so we can pick it up, and we've got 100 pair of shoes in there, so we just load it up in here. So that's what we use this for. We've got a fire extinguisher. Oops. But in this bay here, one of my first videos, the only thing that was in here was a huge box, and it filled the whole thing up, so you couldn't even see to the other side. So I wanted to get one of these slides, but they went out of business. And so I found this company, who was it? Slide Master. And I had them, they custom make all of them. But I had this one, it pulls, see if I can get it all the way out. It must be all the way out, I think. I think it's 6 feet. Doesn't look like it there, but basically it's got that whole tray. You could do anything you want. I was kind of playing around with it and stopped here, I guess. You know, you can do anything you want to it. I put a mini fridge out here. This is the wood that I was showing you in the solo stove. But basically the other side I left it so that it's kind of like a garage or basement. You know, you can leave some tools and stuff on that side so you don't see it here. But I've got the grill on here. I was trying to figure out how to keep the grill on here while I use it. What I found out is this is a pellet grill. When it runs, it's like a fine sawdust, and it filled the whole bay and all the bays that I had open full of that sawdust. So I had started to try to figure out a way to make this look real nice, and I kind of stopped because I didn't want to use it on the bus. I basically pick this up and set it on a picnic table, and then I have an extension cord and I plug it into here and run the grill. So this never really finished it. I don't know really what to do. I don't use it as much as I thought we would. This will stop here. There we go. Basically, when we come to a campsite, we don't really camp either. So we kind of use the inside of the bus, but you can turn this TV on. What I wanted was you can open this up and then you have access to the fridge, and you can move this TV up and down and around in any configuration you want. I've got all of the remotes right here. So what I'll do is I'll come in and open up the canopy, turn the TV on. You can adjust that, pull the chair out, I'll watch some TV, and then I go to bed. So don't use it as much as I wanted to, but options are kind of endless. And you could keep this slide out here and tear everything off and redo it any which way that you wanted to, but that's kind of where I stopped with it. So I think that's it on the outside. I'll go up on the roof next real quick. All right, so coming up here on the roof, it's 13 feet up here, so it's a long way and it's wet. This guy right here is the wind speed sensor to the awning. I think I broke it off and I found one to go on there, and basically when it twirls to a certain speed, it will make the awning go in. I can't find what this plugs into. It will retract the awning, but I don't know what the wind speed is. I always wanted to adjust it, figure out a way to figure out what speed the wind's blowing and then adjust it, but I can't find the intercept. I'm thinking it's probably under the ceiling in here. I have no idea because these are so close. So I've kind of left it. I broke it off, I replaced it. It does work, but I don't know how to adjust it. On the front here, this looks like a mess. It kind of is. it looks like there was a huge satellite at one time, and then somebody had put a smaller one on, and it just looked weird. So I took it off. I thought I kept it, but I don't know where it is. It's the satellite, but we don't even use TV. This right here is the CB antenna, and it stuck up like another 3 or 4 feet, and you know, what is that, 17 feet? That is too high. So I took it off, and I don't use the CB anyway. And then this light, I turned it around backwards. It does work, but I never use it. And I looked into trying to take it off, but I can't. It looks like it'd be real easy, but I don't have access to the inside to get the wires out, so I just left it. These air horns, they do work. And that right there is a FM stereo antenna, and I think I replaced it with a different one. But the rest of this stuff, I think this right here is the satellite TV cables. So I just kind of wire tied them up to the horn in case somebody wanted to put it back on, but I didn't want it on here. That looks like another FM antenna. And I plugged my phone in, and I use Apple CarPlay, Apple Music, and I listen to YouTube videos and podcasts and CNBC. So I don't use the satellite. I don't use the FM radio. So I guess technically it does need another antenna, but it works. So over here to the rest of it. So up here, Prevost have an aluminum roof. You can see there's condensation, and then also it rained. But this has got 4 air conditioners. There are heat pumps as well. So each one of those will run air conditioning and heat. I think it's real weird. It's like they have this one and maybe that one on the top breaker panel, and this one and that one. No, they have these 2 on the top breaker panel and those 2 on the bottom breaker panel, but this in the micro air and is 1, 3, 2, and 4. So if you wanted to turn this air conditioner on, you've got to turn 3. And so I thought something was broken, and it wasn't ever labeled right, so I relabeled it inside. The other is I put these SIGS solar panels. These are not the monocrystalline panels. These are SIGS. Had them made for me so that I could adhere them up here. So they're there for forever. They're low profile. They work really well. And the only thing with them being low profile is you've got the wires. And so I did the best I could to route these. I cleaned off with alcohol the roof and put down like a twisty tie mount and twisty tied them. So it looks like a mess, but short of tearing the roof out and running all the wires underneath, I liked being able to just route it all across there. Nothing vibrates or moves or anything. None of the wires are in the way. You can't see any of it. I do have 2 boxes. Let me see. There we go. So I've got, these are 160 watt a piece. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 100 and maybe they're 180, I can't remember. It's on my website. Panels, and then I've got 2 240 watt panels. And so basically these 6 go to a solar controller, and those 2 go to a solar controller. And so what I've done is these 2 are wired in series. These are in series, and then those two are in series, and then they come and they parallel together, and then they go in this box and go down to the disconnect, and the 240 out there and the 240 here, they run over, they go into series, and then they come down in this box and go down to the solar charge controller. And just works real well. There used to be a TV antenna here, and it had gotten beaten up, and so what I did was I took the screws out and I filled in the holes and right here, and then I used the holes that were there to run the wire down. And again, you know, if for some reason you didn't want any of this up here, you could, although it'd be pretty tough to take the panels off, you could take all of this off and you could put the antenna back up. It's kind of my intention, is try to make it really nice, but still you could change it back. And like I said, there's probably some other options you can do, but I like the option of, you know, I could unplug these panels if they went bad for some reason. I can unplug any of these panels and I still have a working system. And all these connections are waterproof. I've sized them correctly. I think it's all 10 gauge wire, but it's high voltage up here. And so you don't need, I think it only needed to be 14, maybe 12, and I ran 10. So there's plenty of copper. The other thing that's up here is the fantastic fan air vent here. That's for the microwave. And then we've got another one right here. And also these air conditioners, I'm gonna do a video on it. Let's see if I don't die here. All 4 of these have soft starts installed inside of them. And all 4 air conditioners and heat pumps work. So that's it on the roof. So one thing about the outside that really irritates me, so I've got a storage unit to put this in. It's hard to get it in and out. And as I do some things, it's just so much easier to work on it here. But it needs a wash, and we have well water here, and it's really hard. And my water tester thing, I think it's like 600 is what it comes out to. And so if I wash it, I get really, really bad water marks in it. So I almost hate washing it, but it cleans up really good. PJ in Texas, when we were there, we washed it, and he has a RO, not RO, he had the, it's almost like distilled water. And we washed it, cleaned it up, and it shined really good. I also had it washed in a park once. It cost me a couple $100, but it may look good here on camera. In person, it doesn't look too bad. It does need a wash, but I hate washing it because I get so many of the water spots on it. But it does need a wash. So coming inside of here, like I said, I replaced this. I did a video on it. It's got a electric wireless lock, and that works. And so I'll show you coming in the coach. So coming in, it does have this, call it a phone. If I push this, it'll ring the telephone in the back. We never use it. So I think the previous people that had it to us, they installed this tile, and all this tile coming in. It's okay. We've got the leather coming in here. I've got this switch. If I could find it, there's like a tab on the back of it that's broken, so it won't stay in, but it works fine. If I could find another switch that said yard light, I'd buy it and put it in, but show me where it is and I'll buy it. We've got 2 leather seats up here. Some people have had them torn off and redone. These are fine. They're power. They do work. So I've left them. It's not bad. This is an air ride. This one is not. I've got a whole video on all of the dash. So you could go back if you want to see what all of the buttons kind of looks overwhelming. It's kind of like a cockpit to an airplane. I've got a video that shows what all of those do. I normally run, depending on what kind of an offer I'll get, depends on what I'm going to throw in with it, but I use a GPS here. I installed this guy. It is Apple CarPlay, and so it shows your maps as well. Inside this dash, just real quick, I guess, this is the CB radio. This right here controls your heating and air conditioning up front. This is your vent. That's a radar detector. This right here is the microphone for this guy. The light on top of the roof, controls are right there. Never knew where they were until I replaced that. Speaking of replacing, I think I've got the original steering wheel, but I love this one. It was a kit from Prevost. So this is the brand new steering wheel. The only thing it doesn't have are the controls. But there's no way, I'm sure you'd spent $4,000, but there's no electrical coming up here. You just have the horn. And then I sent the steering wheel off to Craft Customs, I think it's called, in Texas, and had them put on real leather and stitching. So the steering wheel, it's a Prevost kit, but it was custom leather. And then there used to be a rear view mirror here, and so what I did was I tore it out and I put in this guy, and that's my rear view camera. I don't have auxiliary air. I don't have that. You can see right now the auxiliary air is 0, so it wouldn't do anything, but it does work now because I fixed it. But this is the rear view camera, and makes it nice because you're driving down the road and then you can see behind you. It just feels natural. So you've got the rear view camera that I added. I've got this screen, and they make them bigger than this, but I like this size because it doesn't cover everything up. And then I've got the other one over there. Also up front here, these row of buttons do the slides. So this guy does this one does this. So you can see the staining. I cleaned that off when I first got it. I was like, holy cow, how could they leave that? And I spent a long time cleaning it, and then it slowly came back on. So I don't know. I have no idea where it comes from. And pick your battles. You could clean it if you want, go for it, but I left it. And then this one right here, it goes up and down, and there's another one right there. This switch, it'll drop that one. And then you've got lights right here. Those speakers, there's 2 of them. They go to the to this, and then you've got another light over here as well, and you've got some lights on top. This guy right here, it pulls out, and this is where you can plug your Apple CarPlay in if you want. I've got the CB. It does work, but it needs that antenna on the top to really pull in a signal. And then 2 cup holders. And I think there's more to it up here. I think that's it for some dash. So like I said, I could spend an hour going over all of this. This is the air brakes though, and this right here is what they call level low. I don't know why they call it, but basically you can do the left drive and tag and the right drive and tag, make it go up and down in the front, and that's your bubble. There is a computerized leveling. They said it worked when I bought it. I hit the buttons and it sits there and flashes, and it could be that it works, but when I pull in, I usually just do it myself. It basically, that right there runs this, and I just do it. I don't know if it works or not. The lights are on and everything, but I have no idea. And those are the generator ones. Again, those are the gauges that when it turns on, it just pegs over here on the side. So there's probably a ground or a connection for that. That's what it was. The ultimate horn, when we first got it, that didn't work, and I got it to run. This stuff here is a theater system that's no longer here. I have no idea what this is, so I just leave it off. This is the TV antenna that I removed, and so I just left it there as well. And then I'll show you up here. So I do these in segments so that it's easier to stitch the videos together. But basically, when I bought it, they had taken out, there was a big CRT TV up here. They had put the LED TV up, and then there was some smoked Lexan. And so what I did, everything in here is cherry, and it's real cherry wood. It's not fake. And so I took some cherry and I made, looks like I could put some more stain on there, but I made this grill cover, and it basically magnetics up here. So it did have a sound system with a speaker here, there, and there, and it basically, it came in, and there was a whole bunch of components in here, and none of it worked. And so I left these speakers, and I left all the wire, and I tore all that out. So basically, we stick our computers and electronics in here as just kind of like a carry-all, but all of the cables, the wires, all of that crap is in here. And then also, to go back to that awning, it sits up there. And so if you got Brave, that controller's probably up there somewhere. I have no idea. I left it. I gave up. Pick your battles. But all that to say, I ended up putting a sound bar in here. So this is the sound bar. That's the sub. This cabinet back in here's got a lot of room. I pulled out, I don't know, 50 pounds worth of electronics and wires from stuff that the previous person didn't even use. And so there's still some stuff back there, but primarily it'll run, we've got the TV and the sound bar, and it sounds awesome. I mean, technology from the 2000 to 2023, it's just awesome. You know, you can watch TV in here at night on the couches, and it's pretty cool. The sound in here is awesome. And I just left these speakers because if I take them out, then like, what do you do with the holes? So I just left those, and I made this. You could put the smoked Lexan back up, but this is magnetic, and just covers it up real nice. Over here, this is where that 24 volt charger was, and the engine block heater. And then this is another set of fuses, and they're all labeled as well. So just FYI. So coming back around, there's so much stuff in here. These lights, so there's the top lights on the top. When we first got it, there's a thing in the back, they blew, and so I couldn't get parts, and long story short, I ended up cracking the code and was able to get them to work. But It's the upper vista, and you can turn on and off those lights, and they do work now, so I got them to work. There's also right here the lower vista. They never worked before either, and I got those wired up and they work. There's some LEDs around the windows, and it was this button right here. The button wasn't there, so I found the button, but I couldn't find how to get it written in here. And I don't even know what you call it. I guess the LED windows, but they work now. So you can see those are on. So I got the lights working. There's a, looks like telephone and an outlet there. This drawer I end up just using to put like those keys that I showed you. So there's all these keys here. To be honest with you, I don't know what they go with. This is the remote. It does work. This one right here is the primary one that I use. That unlocks those doors out there. And then these probably do the bays. I've never locked them. This is the TV remote. This is the codes to the ultimate horn. I think there's some Prevost books right here. And then these drawers, this thing is huge. So I mean, that's probably 3 feet. So I got a lot of flack. My brother 3D printed this, and you can stick it down on the dash and divert some air up to you. Throw that in there, no charge. And then this back here is just some odds and ends. This was back from my toilet when I had to fix it, so it's JB Weld. This is Mulaney and Associates. This is some toilet parts. These are some lights, some tape, front windshield repair kit. I believe these, so those lights that I replaced in the front with LEDs, these are the halogen. So if for some reason you wanted to use those, here they are. Those big fuses, there's fuses up here. There's the little fuses. There's just different odds and ends up here. So I kind of use this as a junk drawer to put everything in. And again, unless you pull it way out, you never see it. So we'll come over here next. Coming over here, this is the other seat. It will, it's got like a footrest that comes out. And then this thing right here, it will shoot over and have a floor. We don't really use it. And then that's the remote. And then I replaced this outlet, and I put the USB. So it's got a USB-A and a USB-C on there. And then I guess we'll come to the two couches. So these two couches, when we bought it, I think what they had done was they replaced this material. They put their LED sconce lights in here. So I think it works. They had these two couches. They have new foam and new leather on them, and they're really, really nice. Both of these will fold out. The weird thing is you can't fold them both at the same time. Each one of these have this, if you grab it in the center right here, you can pull this open. And so what I've kind of devised is underneath here, I've got I don't know where it went. You can see the one right here. I've got this wood platform. And so basically you stick the wood down on this piece, and then it folds over and it goes underneath here. And then that foam is the same height as this. And so basically you're building a platform. And then we've got these pillow bed that will lay out on both of these couches. And you can, it's almost like a twin. So you can almost have a twin bed here and a twin bed here. And they both can set up in a minute, maybe. And you still have some room to walk through. You still can pull this. Let me see if I can pull it down. You can flip this out. We don't use it that much because the kids like the pillow beds better, but you can pull this one out into like a bed. And again, they put the new leather and the foam in there, so they're real comfy. You can still have room to walk in between. So there's some different options here. If these couches, put that back in here, weren't so nice, there's one thing that I found, but I haven't found it in the United States. It's like $5,000 or $7,000. Basically, it looks like this, but you pull it and it does this fancy move and you get a bunk bed. And so I'm like, man, that would be awesome. But the kids liked that and kind of left it alone. So, like I said, these lights right here, LED lights, so they work. Everything in here works. So I think that's it on the front. So these blinds right here, these are manual. I thought about getting electric ones in, but I don't know where to put the switch. And then, you know, I try not to fix what's not broke. So I've just left it. It's worked fine. Again, this is tiles been here. 2 huge drawers, 4 drawers. Again, this is all cherry. I think this is the one. Yeah. So I replaced that. That's got 2 USB-A's on there as well, so you can charge your devices. I do have this table right here. It does pull out, and there's a inset that you can put in there. And there's 2 leather chairs that match this material, this leather. So just wanted to show you here those 2 chairs. So we actually just brought them inside the house and stuck them in here. So they're good shape and condition and match the couch. This leather, and we took it out and I built these cherry stools so that we can have 4 people sit down here. And so I've got the 2 leather chairs that we could throw in here, and you could throw these away or keep them. They did look real nice. The kids have kind of, you know, dropped some food on it and stuff like that, so I probably need to clean it up, but they've worked real well. The other thing too that we found is you know, you can slide these in and out, but if you put them both on top, we've put a double bed air mattress in here before, and that's worked good. So coming back this way, replaced, this did have brass fixtures in here, and replaced them with matching. I think the previous owner, they'd put this in, so it comes down. This right here is called an Insta-Hot, and I don't know if it works. I don't drink the water in here, so it may work. I have no idea. I never used it. I've blown the water out of it and then let it go. Inside of here is gosh darn it. Got to clean that up. It's always something. Electric cooktop, and it works real well. Got the microwave. It works real well. There was that on the roof, the vent, and so it actually sucks the heat and the smells and it throws it outside. It doesn't throw it up here. Microwave works. Another cabinet up here. These vents right here are returns, so that's where the air conditioner sucks the air in. So there's one here, there's some, what, 6 of them in here. And then, I don't know if you can see it, the air conditioner actually blows the air in through there. So we've got an air conditioner and heater up here, one here, one in the bathroom, and one back in the bedroom. So one thing I did, and it's my fault, in this cabinet right here is where the thermostat was, and I ordered a white one just so that it would match what was here. And I thought, you know what, I don't want that thermostat in here. Let's stick it out. And so I drilled a hole, and again, this is real cherry. This is plywood right here, but this, all the rest of this is real solid cherry. But this is cherry veneer on cabinet grade plywood. Drilled a hole through here and then mounted the thermostat. And once I did, I was like, damn it, should have got black. So my fault, but this is a micro air thermostat. I did a video on it. It's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So if you have Wi-Fi, you can control the heat and air conditioning and aqua hot from anywhere you have an internet connection. It's Bluetooth as well, so you can be laying in bed, outside, inside, and as long as you can Bluetooth to it, you can control it as well. I did put in this light so I can see in here. This is the one thing that doesn't work. This is the what tells you the fresh water, gray water, and black tank level. It just says black tank caution full, and you can see the levels in the tank, so I've just never really worried about it. We've never stayed anywhere longer than a couple of days, so it's been fine. This is the water pumps, and so I put down here, they're on and this is off because I didn't know which way was which. This tape, if you can see the tape, it was there previously and I just left it. This is so you can dump the tanks. I don't know why you need it here. Again, there's one outside on that side, outside on that side. There's one here, there's one on the dash, and there's one in the bedroom. So you can flush your stuff. This has 2 drawers that come out. And again, I put this LED light in there so I could see. There's another drawer here as well. These are your different light switches. Put in a towel rack that matches. The refrigerator works. I unhooked the water and the ice because I'm not going to drink the water. If you lived in here full time and you flushed it, I'd turn it back on, but I don't recommend to drink the water. So coming up here, there's all of these cabinets and they're good size. Don't really have anything in them. This thing, we went to Yellowstone for, I think it was 2 weeks, and this bus held everything that we had, and tons of storage in here. So over here, the Victron system, if you've seen in my other videos, I've got the Color Touch. I didn't know where to put it. I thought this was as good as any, and it runs off of a USB cord, so it's not infinitely long. And so I took the fridge out and I stuck it in here, and so this right here tells you everything. So right now I've got 430 watts on the top of the bus, 93% of the battery, so it charges up pretty soon. You know, we're still real early in the morning. Down here, this is just a carbon monoxide detector. I just put it in here since we've got the aqua hot and the generator that we never use. I just thought it needs to be in here somewhere. But coming back here, the fridge, you know, the one thing you could do is replace it, put black one in or stainless steel, but it does work. It works real well. And it's big. I've got it turned off right now. That's why the light doesn't turn on. But the only way to get it out is to take the window out. And again, it works. So I try not to fix what's not broke. There's enough stuff that breaks. So that's the one thing, you know, it'd give it a facelift if you replaced it. I don't know if you can just change the doors. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me, so pick your battles. Coming through here, this door right here shuts and blocks off this bathroom. It doesn't roll real well. It's real heavy. It does work though, so we usually just leave it in, and we use this door right here, the bathroom door, to kind of block it off, and the pantry door. It's got a mirror on it. Let's see if I can turn this on. So I replaced the hardware. It was brass, and I found the exact hardware and I put it on so it's different color. I also replaced this. It was a different color. That right there is the flush bolt is still brass. To change it, I have to take the door out, and to take the door out, I've got to take the bus apart, so I left it. Coming in here, I just labeled some things. So this is the light to the bathroom. This over here is the roof vent fan, so it works. That's the fantastic fan. It sucks air in up here and then blows it out the roof. I just leave it on just to kind of pull air through the windows while it's sitting here in the driveway. It does work. It also has rain sensor on all of them. There's another one up here. This one controls the fantastic fan that's right up here. If it rains outside, it automatically shuts. I did add this towel holder. I changed it. It was ugly brass one. I changed this out. It was ugly. I put 2 new towel bars in here. The toilet paper, I changed it to. The toilet, I've got, there's storage up top of here. I've got the top to it. I ended up loosening and then tightening everything in there, and it works now. And I had put in here as kind of a quick fix so we could go on our trip, a shutoff valve, and I was going to tear it back out. You can tear it out if you want. All you'd have to do is pop it off here and pop it, swing it under and pop it in underneath it there. But I can put that back on top. Like in storage mode, it's nice to just, you can turn that off and shut the air off. There's a valve for the water down there, but there's no valve for the air. So it looks kind of corny, but you can cover it up with the toilet bowl, and so I just left it so you can do what you want with it. Inside of here is a cabinet. It does have power. Like I said, everything in here works. Coming over to this side, this is where the washer and dryer would go. It does not have one. We use it, I put that shelf in here, we use it as a pantry. We usually just put our clothes in a bag and then bring them home and wash them. So we don't miss it. We actually kind of like, we fill this up, I put water bottles down here, like 80 of them. And then we put chips and different things in here. We've got containers that set on top. And yeah, we use it like a pantry in a kitchen, and it works awesome, and just fill it full. The other thing that I did put in here, there's a light right there, and I did put this in so that when you open and close the door, it turns the light on, so that makes it nice. turn that light off. Coming over here, I replaced this plumbing fixture. I replaced that fixture. Tons of storage drawers down in here. Tons of storage there. These mirrors, they open up. You've got storage inside of here. There's another fantastic fan. See, vanity light. I think I turned it off there. So I labeled this, so it's roof vent fan. This is a tow heater, so you can take all the labels off. I just didn't know what the hell any of this stuff was. So if you flick this, this is an electric heater, and down here, I think it's that one is the electric one, and this one is the aqua hot one. So I just left the labels on, because I forget as well. But yeah, everything works in here. The only thing that I would have, well, so here is the shower. So the shower's nice and big. I did replace the shower knob and the whole assembly. I've found a match to what was in here. I replaced it. I replaced the towel holder and then also the drain. The one thing that I had wanted to do, even though it's not broke, was, and the plumbing fixtures weren't either, was replace this brass, and I can't find it. I don't know if they're in business anymore or what, but it works. This is a lock up here that you put inside of here. There we go. Keeps it from opening, but it works. It's called Cessna. Yeah, right there. And I don't know. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find dimensions. Looked, and then also the height. It's a little short. So I'm 6 feet. So this is like 5'10". It's like a custom. The whole thing's custom, and I couldn't find it. So that's the only thing brass. So this piece and the flush bolts on the doors. Coming over here, this stuff has been changed out as well. This is a big wardrobe, so you can put a whole bunch of clothes in here. On this side as well, and put stuff in here. That one has a light in it. Tons of storage down there. This this door, it does pull open. I've got the flush bolt locked. Again, this one's brass, and I do have the whatever color that is, but again, you've got to take everything apart to get that in. The bolts for it are underneath, and so you've got to take the door off to get the bolts out. So I just left it. So that's kind of it, and get into the bedroom. So coming into the bedroom, so up here, you've got all this fancy stuff. There's a vent there, there's a vent there. That's where it pulls the air up, and then the air conditioning and heat from the rooftops come out along here. Let me shut this. There's cabinets here. There's the electrical cabinet. There's tons of cabinets back here. These are all good size. We don't have anything in them. And then coming over here, there's a TV. The previous owners, they put that in. There's these cabinets. These are deep. That's got the DVD player in it that we never use. Just always hook it up to Wi-Fi. But plenty of storage in here. There are, where are they? Right here, this vent and that vent, they're the return. And then the air conditioner, it blows out air in here. We've got the window. These are, I like these blinds better. They're kind of, they block the sun. These are manual too, which has been fine. There you can see there's like no sun. There's leather down here. Here's the cabinet. These are full, like they come out a lot. So there's a lot of storage in here. That's an alarm clock. This is a radio that I don't use. There's a speaker under the leather there, and over here, we never use it. There's an outlet down there. I've got this power strip plugged into it, so I just plug into it. There's an outlet on the other side of the bed. There's LED lights that go around. That's bath ceiling. Bedroom. Over there's more controls. There's the telephone. This bed, a lot of these are pneumatic, and this one I ended up changing the struts, and I added a strut in the middle, and it lifts up. There's the safe, there's a vacuum cleaner. Those are the pillow beds that we roll out on the front couch. Tons of storage in here. So there's, more storage in there. This bed you did have to kind of manually lift up. Now you just kind of pop it up and it comes up. And then I'll show you this cabinet. So this cabinet in here, this one, it's not that deep, if you can see it. It's all the electric. And when I reference, so my top inverter, I stacked them purposely. So the top inverter passes through 50 amp of power and runs this box, and the bottom does the same. And so I just thought it would be easier to use that. This back here, so this is the refrigerator. They're all labeled. You can turn the fridge on. It's got air conditioner 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. And so what I've done here, so the AC, so this is the front of the bus, so 1, 2, 3, 4, but the zone is 1, 3, 2, 4. So again, I just couldn't figure out why it didn't work, and it did work, just wasn't labeled right. Down here, this is the aqua hot fuel and electric. And so if you want to turn the aqua hot heater on from the electric, you just flick that on. And again, I've never used I shouldn't say I've never used the fuel. We don't use it, and so that's probably why it didn't run, or didn't help it. The electric one, it works fine. And then when you're driving down the road, the engine heats the water, and you can usually get it'll stay hot for a day or two. You can take a couple of showers off of it. So if you come in and you plug in, you switch on your electric, or you can run it off batteries. I've never had to turn the diesel one on. And then I don't turn the generator on, just haven't need to use it. But again, there's some DC up here, labeled these because these weren't labeled. This is the pantry panel. So inside the pantry in here, I had figured all this out, so I just kept it. There's a fuse box, and so that switch back there controls everything in here. So from here, this runs, and it's labeled in there, the different fans and different lights. And all of this goes back to that 12 volt switch in the battery bay. So if you turn that 12 volt off, it basically cuts power to this, and all of this feeds the rest of the bus. So there's the pantry panel. I found out that the shore cord, I think these two, I'll show you the relay panel in a minute. I think both of these are a feed to the relay panel. And then we've got the front panel, so that front fuse box and the front 12 volt, this is the cutoff for it. And then for some reason, those sconce lights, they're all of, there's 4 times 16 watt. It's got its own switch. I don't know what was there before. But at any rate, these are the electric panels, and everything runs through the inverters through here, so you can power. So right now, I've got the batteries and the inverters that will run everything on the coach. They are only 3,000 watt a piece, so I only have on battery 3,000 watt for the top, 3,000 for the bottom. But if you turn the generator on, then you've got 50 amp pass-through power that will feed through here. So you can run anything you want, but you have to know what you're doing on the battery so that you don't overload the inverters. And if you overload the inverters, they're smart enough, they just say overload and they turn themselves off, and then the rest, everything works. So back here, I'll show you this. So basically, I changed these lights out. They run off this door here. You have to shut it, and then it turns these lights on. They were the old halogen, and so I changed them out to the LED. 2 reasons. One, these are a lot brighter, and I also have separate controls, and they're only like 4 watt instead of 200. So we use this back here, hang our clothes. This back here we've just used for throw our clothes in here, and then when we get home we just bring them in and wash them, or if we go to a laundromat we just bring them in. One thing you could do is probably you could tear this out if you wanted to. Depends on how you use it. You could probably make a bunk bed back here. It'd be a smaller one. It is pretty deep. You know, if I were laying down, it'd probably be smaller than a twin, but you could get somebody back here. There's drawers back here, drawers over here. This is built out right here. This is the camera. I've been in there, and that's how I got that rear view camera thing mounted. And then this is the relay panel. So somebody's mechanical work of art. When I told you I had some go out, this was the top light. I think I did a video on it. Those lights never worked because these relays went out, and so I found the newer version and ended up cracking the code and figuring it out. Felt like I was in the Matrix, and made a wiring diagram for it. And I think I actually have another one of those in case one of these goes out. You could replace it. Yeah, I got those to work. The LED window lights, they never worked, and the LED lights on the top didn't work, so I replaced those, got them working. But I think all that there's 2 breakers in there, and I think that feeds this panel with 2 of those, because I'm not sure what amps they are that feed this. But I found if I do the short cord and or the other one, then it feeds this back here. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna turn these lights out here. I think that's it. I don't know how long this video is. I'll review it and see if there's anything I missed. But yeah, I think everything works. There's the aqua hot, so I'm gonna go ahead and order the computer for it and put that in, so we can just say the aqua hot works. I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. So I'll probably do a video on it. There's a couple of windows. So this guy right here, it's starting to fog. And this one right here. So the sliding windows, I don't know why. You can still see through them. It's fine. There's the white fridge, but it still works. I don't know. It's a good solid running bus. Like I said, the front tires are new. The back ones, depending who you talk to, are fine or need to be replaced. Yeah, I think there's only one other thing up here. This is the, when you're plugged in, this is another panel. So the old inverters came up here, and they had a bad piece of wood up here, so I replaced it with this wood and painted it black. This was buried back in behind all of this and on, and it was hot, so I pulled it up front so you could turn it on and off. But it runs the TV antenna that I took out. This cable goes back to the Victron if you wanted to use it. This right here, when you're plugged into AC power, if you think of the legs, so you've got leg 1 and leg 2, it'll show you the voltage, the amps that you're pulling on it, the inverter. So this right here is my 12 volt power, so it's 13.3. This is the start batteries. So this is the house batteries. So how do I have that? I don't know where that picks. That can't be right. I don't know what that's picking up because I'm 24 volts. These right here is my start batteries. This is the generator, so it's 13. That must be the 12 volt power, so I'm 13.3, so that'd be right. I don't know where it pulls that off of. There's little teeny connectors and they run out through the bus, so it must be somewhere between my 12 volt panel in here somewhere and coming up front. To be honest with you, I don't really pay too much attention to it. When I plug in, I can see what the shore power legs are, but I can see all of that on the Victron system. So you could rip all this out. I just didn't know what to put back in there. But this is the bus. Let me know if you're interested, and shoot me an email to aaron@campprevost.com and come check it out. So like I said, thanks for watching, checking it out, and if there's anything else you want to see, let me know. I can put a video together.